Hi, everyone. It is Angel, and welcome to Borderline Behavior. This is an entirely new podcast that I'm piloting with my best friend and cousin, Olivia.
Hi, my name's Olivia. I am here. Yeah, like Angel said, I'm her best friend and we're cousins. So we're just going to be doing this together.
Exactly. So, for those of you who've not seen any of my content before, I'm actually coming from TikTok. I started making true crime content on TikTok, but I just felt like my TikToks were missing something. I didn't have enough time to delve into theories that I had, and it just felt like TikTok didn't allow me enough time to fully tell these stories. So, a few people recommended that I start a podcast, and here we are. I feel like it's much more my style, and I'm able to have Olivia here, and we're going to be bantering and talking about all of these cases. And we're super excited to hear what you guys have to say as well. So, not having the time constraints and being able to do a little bit more of what we want is going to be really exciting. So, I think it's only right to start my first podcast episode with the same case that I started my true crime TikTok journey on, and that would be the case of Hailey Buzbee. And for Olivia and I, this is not only a case that kind of hits home for both of us, but it's also close to our location. So it's literally by our home. It's only 20 minutes away from us in Fishers. So that's kind of crazy to have a case this close to us.
A little bit, but it's not the first time.
It's not the first time, and I'm sure it won't be the last. So, unfortunately, this case is much more wrapped up now than it was when I first covered it on our TikTok. We have, I guess, some grim discoveries, you could say. However, I'm excited to provide an update and hopefully shed some light on Haley's story and get more eyes on the problem that we're going to be discussing today. So, this case is very recent. It just unfolded the last few months, actually, and it involves a minor. So, if cases with minors negatively affect your mental health or that's going to cause you to have a bad day, then I would recommend sitting this video out. There will be many cases that do not involve minors in the future. So, we are now going to hop into today's story. So on January 5th of 2026, a 17-year-old girl, Hailey Buzbee, went missing. She attended Hamilton Southeastern High School and lived in a suburban neighborhood outside of the outskirts of Indianapolis in the city of Fishers, Indiana. For those of you not familiar with the area, I mean, I don't know, Olivia. I feel like Fishers and the Hamilton Southeastern area, like, they don't have events like this. They don't have a lot of crime. It's a very nice area. So to see something coming out of that area is kind of like mind boggling a little bit.
A little bit. It's like these are really nice areas of Indianapolis and they're very not, I don't want to say upscale, but they are a little bit more expensive to live in. So, I mean, the cost of living is a little higher. They're just nicer places.
Exactly. And I live in Irvington in Indy, which like it's half and half. Like it has its nice parts, but there we have a decent amount of crime here and a lot more than Fishers does. So when I first heard of this, I was really shocked because kidnappings and other type of violent crimes just seem to be really rare in those areas. But moving
I
back,
agree.
yeah. So moving back on to Haley. Haley was known to be a super bubbly personality, and I have a very soft spot in my heart because Haley actually planned to major in journalism after she graduated from Hamilton Southeastern. And, I do a lot of journalism. I do freelance journalism, and I wrote for the Indiana Daily Student when I went to IU. And so my heart just aches knowing that we lost someone who could have had so much creativity and love for writing, and knowing that she's gone now is just really upsetting.
Yeah, no, that's kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah, but you know, no matter who you asked, Haley was the type of person that nobody had anything bad to say. She was just the type of person that you would go to when you needed a refresh. She was just that ray of sunshine for everyone in her life. And so for her to not be there, it was not only shocking to her family, but quite literally the entire community that knew her. But moving on to what actually happened. And so the night on January 4th was a normal night for Haley's family. And when the morning rolled around on the 5th, though, Haley's family was pretty shocked when they found that Haley was no longer in her bed. And this is something that was interesting. Most kidnapping cases with minors, from what I have seen at the very least, is they really don't take much with them if they're being like unwillingly kidnapped. They don't plan for it, so they don't bring much with them, you know?
Yeah, like you don't have a chance to pack if you're being kidnapped.
Right. But that was not the case with Haley. In fact, some of Haley's stuff was missing from her bedroom. So then this started raising even more questions, which, just to foreshadow a little bit, all of which go unanswered. But did she plan to go somewhere? Why did she pack some things? Will she be coming back? And why did she even run away in the first place? Luckily for her family, though, there was some evidence as to where Haley was going. And so, luckily, Haley and her family lived in a newer area of Fishers, and many neighbors had security systems. And so, someone's camera actually caught Haley leaving in a mysterious car that nobody could identify.
That's so scary. Imagine being in your neighborhood and seeing an unfamiliar car. I mean, I know that I'm kind of paranoid in general, so like I
Oh, for
see
sure.
I see unfamiliar cars in my neighborhood and I'm looking out my windows and trying to kind of, but this was at night, wasn't it?
This was like really early in the morning. So, like, technically still night, but
Mm.
yes, like very early
Yeah.
in the morning. But I think it's important to acknowledge, now we might be a little more paranoid and think, why is there an unmarked car here? But I know, at least for me, I had many of times where I snuck out and the car was probably unfamiliar to most. So at
Oh,
first,
definitely. Yeah.
right. So at first, I feel like it's not the biggest sign, like I know we both snuck out plenty of times. So it's like, is this just a 17-year-old experimenting and, going out to have some fun? Or is this like a serious criminal case?
And that's like something that I know I kind of considered and thought about when she first went missing,
Mm,
unfortunately. And I know that the police force kind of thought the same thing. And um, that's why Haley's law is kind of coming into play here. And like things are kind of getting
exactly.
more, because I don't think they thought she was just kind of a runaway for a little bit.
Yeah, which I have such mixed feelings on, but we'll get to that in a minute. But Haley was last seen in the Enclave at Vermilion neighborhood. This was the neighborhood that she lived in, but it was in the Fishers Fortville area. And one of her neighborhood cameras actually caught her getting into a car around 10 p.m. on January 4th, um, near Flat Fork Creek Park. And so this was late on the 4th, going into the early morning of the 5th. And so it was said very early in this case that she was a runaway. And so law enforcement did not act initially, which frustrates me a little bit because I think most people who are obsessed with true crime know. But for those of you who may not, the first 24 hours are the most important, especially when it comes to children. And I think a lot of people might not consider 17 a child anymore, but it very much is. And I don't know, I just have mixed feelings. Like, even if it was like a fun night out, if we would have acted immediately, I feel like we may have been in a different situation than we are right now.
I think even if the minor is considered a runaway, I think it's still important to go look for
Right, like, where did they run away to? Like,
them. Exactly.
there obviously has to be some answer to the question, and it just feels like police just didn't care right off the rip, and I think that's the most frustrating thing for me in this case, but luckily, we did have that camera footage that spotted Haley leaving, letting them identify the car and its license plate, and so they end up calling the car owner, who happened to be a woman out of town, and she was actually in Florida. But the crazy thing is she wasn't even from the Fishers area. She was from Ohio, but she was in Florida for like a vacation, and so she was like, "That's not me in the
She's not
car."
even in the Midwest right now.
Right,
It's
like
not her in the
she,
car.
right, exactly. So everyone like gets to be a little confused, and so they come back to her and they're like, "Hey, does someone have your car? Like, your car's out here being used. So, like, someone has your car. Do you know who it is? Or, like, do you know anyone that might have access to your car?" And then that's when the name Tyler Thomas enters the story. So she says that Tyler Thomas would have access to her car. And now you might be wondering, who is this Tyler Thomas guy? Well, Hailey Buzbee actually knew Tyler. Tyler and her met through an online gaming platform. It actually started on Roblox, believe it or not. And
Oh, I
Haley,
believe it.
right.
Roblox is
Haley,
terrible.
yeah. We're gonna get into that in just a second. Haley, who once again is 17, is talking to Tyler, who, girl, you are not ready for it, is 39 years old. And yes, you heard that right. Tyler is 22 years older than 17-year-old Haley. 39.
Oh my goodness.
39 and 17. I'm sorry, like what's crazier even is that Tyler and Haley had been talking for over a year. And so like this had been a thing. Like Haley started talking to this man when she was 16 and he was 38 years old. And
Yeah, that's disgusting.
it's insane. And I have mixed feelings because I was definitely one. I was always on video games growing up. I was on every Call of Duty. I was on every single online game like you could be at the time. And we'll get
So
into
was I.
right. We'll get into our experiences with that a little bit later in the story, but for them to meet on Roblox, let's just talk about that for a second because I mean, Roblox has been under fire so much recently. And I mean, it's practically the mecca of child SA at this point.
It seems like it. And it seems like the developers and the owners of Roblox don't put much safety into the developing of it.
Right.
Like there's a lot of I mean, there's some fail safes and stuff like that, but it's so easy to get past. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't trust
Right.
much on the internet anymore.
And you saying that I think is very important because they recently did add a facial recognition software. And like, don't get me wrong, I love to get on some Roblox and play some Dress to Impress. I like to throw a fit, you know what I mean? But
Of
I
course.
I had it logged on in like 2 years or something. And so I get back into my account and I immediately had to do a facial scan. And I was like, okay, like that's good, you know, and like they proved in quotations my age and they deemed that I was an adult. Great. So then like in the games I could only talk to people who were 18 and up. I think that's amazing. However, the facial recognition software obviously is not that good because all over TikTok I saw kids literally using toys, drawings, pictures from the internet to fake out this like adult facial recognition software. So, like, obviously, it's not doing its job.
Yeah, no, it's like not if there's it's not secure enough if there's ways to work around it, in my opinion.
Exactly. And so it's like, if a kid could go onto the internet and find a picture of an adult and then bypass the facial recognition, then either one, we need stronger recognition software, or we need to be like uploading our IDs at this point, I feel. Because,
Possibly, yeah.
like, obviously the kids are not safe. Like, there's issues still happening in 2026 from this app, and I feel like it's just never ending at this point.
I know there's like the more we get into, I mean, I could talk about this for hours. The more we get into the internet and just the way that you have access to so much on there as a young kid,
Oh yeah.
it's just, I mean, even when we were like younger, I mean, we're in our 20s now, but when we were younger, when we were teenagers, it was Kik,
Oh yeah, girl.
it was Snapchat. If it's not Roblox, it's something else. Like predators will always find a way to access children, and
That's true.
it's kind of really upsetting.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. And I mean, we could talk about our experiences a little bit later, but that's definitely something I want to come back to. But so, going back to the story, Hailey meets Tyler on Roblox, and then it kind of branched out from there. They started playing League of Legends together because they wanted to, play more games together and spend time. And then they switched over to Discord. And Discord, obviously, we're recording on Discord right now. Like, we're used to using Discord, and I feel like, I don't know. I don't see a lot of kids using Discord, but then again, I don't come in contact with like any minors, so I don't know if
Right?
it's
Because
that
I'm not a freaking creep. Like,
right. Exactly. So I don't know how popular that is with the younger generation, but I know that they moved over to Discord because they wanted to, on Roblox and League, you can chat, but you can't hear each other's voices. And on Discord, you can voice chat, you could send pictures, videos, everything. So obviously, we don't know who suggested it, but it definitely feels like a move by Tyler to, get to see more of Hailey and get her trust, like gain her trust in a way that he wouldn't be able to do just over straight text messages.
yeah, of course.
And so there came a time where Discord was not enough for Tyler, and so he switched their communications to Session. And I don't know a ton about this app, but Session is apparently super encrypted, very hard to access. You set up like two-factor authentication just to get into the app. Very guarded. And his reasoning for this was that Hailey wanted to run away and he was going to help her. So, according to Tyler, this was all Hailey's idea from the jump, to like find someone older and help her run away. I do not believe that, but that is the story he's trying to give.
Absolutely. Of course he is. Of course he is. Because he's not going to upfront say he groomed her. I mean,
Right. Exactly. Even though there's how many years between them? 22, which that's just
yeah.
insane. But so Tyler stated that he picked up Hailey in the early morning hours and claimed to have dropped her off roadside in western Ohio near the Indiana Ohio border. So we both drive that a decent amount, I feel. We know the area. It would be like right past Richmond.
Yeah.
So right like in between Richmond, Indiana, and then the border of Ohio is where he said he dropped her off at. Further investigation, however, showed that this was not true and that Tyler actually had taken Hailey to his house. The police questioned his motives and pretty much called him out for lying. Tyler claimed that Hailey was alive and well when he last saw her. And do you want to know his official comment, girl?
Yes.
He said, quote, "She'll be all right, and I would like to talk to a lawyer," unquote.
Oh my gosh.
She'll be
Yeah,
all right.
that's not the shadiest thing I've ever heard in my life.
No, literally. I'm like, you're an actual POS for that. You're actually, yeah. Like, she'll be all right. I'm not worried about it. Like, huh? That's crazy. So there is a lot of hearsay about whether or not Tyler was homeless. So it appears that he may have not owned the house he initially took her to. We're thinking it may have been that woman that owned the Carr's house. But he also took her to a rental. And so Tyler presumably took Hailey back to his home in Columbus, Ohio, which is about 2.5 hours and 160 miles away from Hailey's home in Fishers. But he did rent an Airbnb at, oh my gosh. He did rent an Airbnb though, and he stayed there in Logan, Ohio at this Airbnb. Why get this Airbnb, you may ask? Because he had, quote, just helped a minor run away, unquote, which was, quote, like a crime, unquote.
Oh my gosh.
Since when is abducting a minor like a crime?
Like a crime.
No, Diva, you committed full-on crime and you should be rotting in jail.
Yeah, like that's a felony.
Like, what are we talking about anyway? Tyler's just delusional at this point. But one thing that police found out that was kind of shooting himself in the foot, Tyler admitted that he got this Airbnb, right? But he said it was just for him. Well, police looked in and they contacted the Airbnb host, and the Airbnb was booked for 2 people, not 1. So that means he brought Hailey there, or at least planned to. And that's very important.
I have things to say. I mean, I can hold off for a second.
No, let it out. Let it out, Diva.
So the vibe, I'm coming at this story with very fresh ears. I've heard like the news about it. I haven't heard all the details, right?
Correct.
What I'm gathering here is that Tyler thinks he's a criminal mastermind. And he's really just a bumbling fucking idiot.
Exactly. Precisely. Nail on the head. Yeah. It's bad. This guy thinks that he's invincible, and he keeps trying to take this angle where he's helping Hailey. Like, Hailey was so desperate to run away, and he's the knight in shining armor to come get her and take her away. Like, no, you're a predator. You're a predator.
Right.
So, funnily enough, the police, we know, didn't act initially, and they actually waited till about 2 weeks after to start actually getting the ball rolling, which is just pathetic. But Columbus police started moving a little bit sooner, and Tyler's neighbor, who still wishes to not be named, so we're going to respect their privacy, but they actually called in to the police station because Columbus police left a card at her door saying that they were investigating Tyler and they needed some more information if she would be willing to give it to them. And so these investigators were at Tyler's home on either January 20th or 21st. It wasn't really clear. But one of those days, that's when the Columbus police were investigating Tyler's home. So they left that card for a bunch of neighbors, hoping to see if there was any available security footage from the surrounding areas with all the neighbors that live next to him. And so this one neighbor calls in and she's like, yeah, no, like there's some shady shit going on over there. So good on that neighbor. First of all, love her.
She's a queen.
Exactly. So Tyler's home was then searched with a warrant on January 21st, where he allegedly had both photos and videos of Hailey, and like not PC ones either. And it wasn't just Hailey, but there were several potential things that would be count as child essay materials. And the craziest thing is Tyler attempted to get rid of this evidence because police found deleted files that contained Hailey. So not only does he think he's a criminal mastermind, but he's also just plain fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I said earlier. This is probably the part of the story that just makes me so sick.
Yeah.
It's just a pit in your stomach, man.
Oh yeah. It's bad. The Fishers Police Department finally issued a statement detailing that Hailey was missing on January 19th, which was exactly 2 weeks after Hailey went missing. And I cannot even begin to imagine the agony and anguish that the family must have gone through during those 2 grueling weeks. Like, not knowing what the police were doing and, like, I don't know, that just feels so heart-wrenching to me.
Me too. My heart really goes out to the family and friends of Hailey. I mean, this is just so life-altering of an event to happen. So, like, this is a big deal.
It makes me frustrated because, we see teenagers being deemed as runaways, but then no resources are ever given to their case. Like, that's still a runaway. Like, that's still a child. Like, why?
Yeah, I don't understand how a runaway. You know what? I'm about to look this up.
You can look it up live.
I'm looking it up live. Okay.
This is probably going to go along with what you're finding, so I'm going to read this part real quick.
Yeah, read it.
Buzbee was classified as a runaway immediately, and she didn't get upgraded to an endangered missing juvenile until January 20th, a day after the Fishers Police Department statement. So for like an Amber Alert or something to go out, you have to be an endangered missing juvenile. And they didn't do that until 15 days after she went missing. 15.
Oh my God.
Like, at that point, why are you even putting it out? It's like something happened to her at that point. Like, I don't know. It just frustrates me so bad. So, according to sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say this frustrates me so bad too. And I can't find even a single thing about like police action or anything for runaways. I mean,
Yeah.
they have the ability to detain a runaway.
Yeah. But that's if they care enough to go find them.
Yeah, but they can take you into custody, hold you, and return you to your parents or social services. If you escaped, they can put out an arrest warrant. But all of this seems very much punishment focused and instead of recovery focused. And that's we want to recover the person. I mean, I don't understand why we're not, kind of putting all our efforts into that. We're just looking for ways to punish them.
Exactly. And it's like, at that point, why would they even want to come home?
Right. It's scary to come home.
Exactly. And so, according to the police statement, Hailey did not leave entirely on her own. However, she did leave willingly, so that's what made her a runaway. And at the time, Fishers police did not believe she acted alone, which, that to me, like, if it was a runaway that acted alone, okay, like, that's a runaway, and I could maybe see them, like, waiting a little bit for that. But if you know she didn't act alone, why would you not be moving immediately to see who is helping her get away?
Absolutely. Sometimes I think that, how do I want to put this? Give me 1 second to gather my thoughts.
No, you're good.
I feel like the police force, especially like in Indiana, just doesn't seem to take things as seriously as I take them personally.
Yeah.
Like And I know there's laws and like there's things you have to do, but like, come on, you know?
Oh, I completely get it, girl. It's bad. So, according to Fisher's police, Thomas held Haley at both his home located in Columbus as well as at short term rental Airbnb in Hocking County. And so, police used drones and dogs to locate Haley's body. And potential trigger warning to anyone who's a bit squeamish out there, but Haley's body was found completely dismembered and disembodied and buried within Wayne National Forest in Perry County, Ohio.
Oh, I didn't even know that part.
Yeah, so Sam Shemansky, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but he's currently the attorney for Tyler Thomas, and this attorney claims that Thomas led the FBI because keep in mind, this crossed state lines, so this is now FBI jurisdiction.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
The attorney claims that Thomas led the FBI to where Haley's body was on February 1st. His attorney, Shemansky, believes that there will be a homicide charge and, quote, possibly murder, unquote. What do you mean, possibly?
Possibly.
Like, we're joking, right? Not that this is the place or the time for jokes, but you have to be joking.
You have to be kidding me.
Possibly murder? Dude, do not piss me off. I think that is the least of the charges this guy should have. And luckily, Columbus police said on February 2nd that additional charges will be brought forward. And currently, at the time, Tyler had been charged with pandering sexually oriented material involving a minor, as well as tampering with evidence. So those were the charges just from Columbus, but then he also faced federal charges as well for murder. The judge for Tyler's case set a $1.5 million bond on January 31st, and then Thomas was briefly furloughed to the FBI on February 1st, but then was returned to Franklin County Jail. Can we just say, well, you know what? Let me finish this next part and then I'll get your opinion, Olivia. So, first, we have the $1.5 million bond, but then Tyler was also, if he does post bail and should be released into the general public, Tyler was also ordered by the judge to have no internet access or unsupervised visits with minors.
Okay.
First of all, why does this guy have a bond?
I don't know why this guy has a bond.
And I don't think he hit it, but what if he did and then went on the run and killed more children, minors?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, I'm sorry, I don't think this horrific man deserves a bond at all. I think most of us, if not all of us, could agree he deserves to rot. So,
Yeah, no, I agree there. I think he can just sit there and think
yeah,
about what he's done for the rest of his life. I wouldn't.
literally. So we're now hoping that the FBI will indict him, but as of now, this case is still ongoing. There could be other children, especially with the child SA material they found at his house. They believe there are other children, at least involved with child SA. We're not sure about murder or anything like that, but allegedly there could be more children involved. He had contact information and photos of other minors, so we're just gonna have to wait to see what shakes out there.
I can't imagine these are the last charges that he's getting.
Oh, I don't think so either, Diva. I think
I can't imagine that this Haley is his only victim, and
agreed.
I just can't imagine that he's moved on.
Because you work your way up from that too.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just go out and kidnap a kid. Like, you work your way up. So,
Yeah, you do certain things first. I definitely think there's like an order of operations here.
right. most criminals don't go and commit their craziest crime, and it's the first one off the bat. Like, they work their way up to it. We know that from basic criminology. So I think that the reason there's still not full charges or like a case, like an actual court case yet, is because that they're piling everything they can against him, which I think is so good because he deserves every single charge.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we should throw the book at this man.
Exactly. Exactly. And so now Haley's loved ones are currently pushing for Haley's Law, Pink Alert, and mandated grooming awareness education in schools. A pink alert would be an alert system for missing people and children when certain risk indicators are present, even if it doesn't meet the requirements of an amber alert or silver alert. And on
This
February,
is such a positive thing that I'm sorry, I just needed to interject. This is such a
no,
positive thing. I know we're getting there.
yeah.
Um, I've already signed this petition. I'm sure you've signed this petition. Let's talk about
Yes.
that.
Yes, on February 2nd, the petition had 63,000 signatures on change.org when I first covered this story. And now, 2.5 months later, it has over 135,000 signatures. And so Olivia has signed it. I have signed it. For anyone listening, I highly encourage you to go sign it and do anything you can to make this positive change. And it is starting to work because we hate Indiana Governor Mike Braun. However, he did sign two measures to protect children in the state. So it might be the only good thing he's done thus far, but at least it's something positive.
At least it's something positive. I mean, that's the bare minimum.
Exactly. So I know that after hearing all of this, you probably have some thoughts and some connections, as I know I do as well. So, where's your head at there?
I just keep thinking, like, I have so much empathy towards like Haley herself. And
Mhm.
like there's a lot there that kind of went swept under the rug with the police force and things like that. And it's just kind of, I mean, this is really tragic. Um, I also I relate a lot to her in the way that she's been groomed, and I'm really glad that we're pushing for more education about that in schools and things. I mean, people don't talk about it enough. I think it's really important to get the word out there. This happens. I
I
think this
agree.
happens to everybody. Um, every every young woman that I know has been groomed. I mean, it's very common experience.
And I mean, girl, I know we've shared our own experiences, but I mean, we were both on Kick and girl, I mean, that was pretty much the pre-Roblox of grooming, like
I was on Kick and it was I mean, I'm not gonna just trauma dump, but I was on Kick and yeah, it was a lot of inappropriate pictures, a lot of
oh, yeah.
inappropriate talks, a lot of just promiscuous like, vibes in Kick. I was never on Kick for anything wholesome.
Oh, 100%, and I think what the most scary part is that half the time, like, I wasn't even lying about my age, those men didn't care.
No, they didn't care.
They actually preferred it, which is
I
insane.
literally had yeah, no, they prefer it. It's a kink. I mean, they're pedophiles.
Right.
Um, there's like this, not to equate it with a kink, but that is their,
It's
I
what
don't
gets
know.
them off, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I remember one time I did lie about my age and I told the person I was older. And then they pulled up on me and they confronted me about it as soon as they picked me up. They were like, "Hey, you look like you're this age." And I was like, "Oh, well, I am." And yeah, I
Ooh.
lied. Haha. They were cool with it.
Right.
They were cool with it. They were like, "Yeah, whatever, that's fine."
Oh. Uh-huh. Yeah, and
That's
I
that's
mean,
the attitude these people have. Like, you tell them
yeah.
there's something groundbreaking like that, like, "Hey, you're actually messing with a 15-year-old or whatever, and you're in your late 20s." I mean, that's a huge, like, do you not I just don't understand. Do you not think like,
Well, I mean,
"Oh,
girl,
I'm a"
I could think of 3 instances right now at Martinsville where we went to high school, girl. Like,
Exactly.
first there was Mr. Wolf, he got in trouble,
Oh my
and
gosh, yep.
the older Mr. Wolf, and then, not his son, which his son continued teaching there, which I don't know how. And then during that was before I was in high school, that was when I was in middle school, and then when I was in high school, we were doing a musical, and one of the this guy was coming from IU Bloomington to help run the show, and he was having intercourse with one of the members, the high schoolers in the show while he was in college, and
Oh my goodness.
the police came, girl, to our set, to the auditorium in at Martinsville, and we had to all go hide in the freaking makeup rooms upstairs.
Oh
Um,
my
it
gosh.
was horrible, yes. And then finally, my last one, I met the literal I don't know if I should say which teacher, but I literally met one of the teachers at Martinsville on Grindr, and they knew who I was. I sent them pictures of me, and they very well knew who I was and continued talking to me while they were a
Ugh.
teacher, and while they weren't my teacher, that's still disgusting.
Yeah, girl, that's I didn't even know that. That's miserable.
Yeah, girl. Yeah. It's, it's crazy to, I guess, as the person being groomed, like, it's crazy to see how many messed up adults are like this, and, like, willing to groom kids. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, it is disgusting. It's really upsetting too. I mean, like I said, this case just breaks my heart.
Uh-huh.
Um, I'm hesitant to really talk much about it. I don't want to misspeak or offend anybody or, it's a
Yeah.
very gentle I want to treat this case very gently and
Yeah.
um, it's really something that I've been kind of thinking about while we've talked about this and I
Yeah.
just I could say a lot about grooming, but I don't know how helpful it would be.
Yeah. Well,
It's a terrible, it's a disgusting thing, and
yeah.
I think we need better. I love Haley's Law, the pink
Yeah.
alert. I think that's amazing.
Me too, and I think, like, one thing I just wanna, like, end our discussion on is that neither one of us, and nor should any of you, ever blame the victim. Um, as both of us have been victims, we know how that feels, and it is never a kid's fault for what adults do to them,
It is
and
never a kid's fault. No, it's never a victim's fault, period. But
ever,
especially when
yeah.
that victim is a child, there's
Yes.
nothing wrong they could have done.
Yes, exactly, and I don't care, I've heard some commentary that, "Well, she was almost 18, she could make her own decisions." No, she was 17, she was a minor, she was a
She was
child,
17. It sounds like she had been getting groomed by this man since she was 16, and
and who knows what before happened? We don't
who
know
knows
any
what's
of
happened
that.
before.
Exactly, and
Who
so
knows where her head could have been at, you know? I mean,
exactly,
there's a lot of moving parts here that you could kind of dissect and talk about, but none of it, I think, leads to blaming the victim.
100%, and so one thing I really want to end this episode with a quote from Haley's dad, Bo Busby, that was posted to Facebook. He said, Haley was a smart, beautiful, kind, and caring young lady with a bright future. She had a deep love for her family and held a very special place in so many hearts. And I still consider myself the luckiest dad in the world.
Oh my goodness.
And that just ooh, I feel the tears coming. That just
Me
breaks my
too.
heart. Like, that just breaks my heart. Like, I don't have any words to even I don't
Yeah,
have anything to say. It's just so heartbreaking.
I can't even put it I don't have words to say about this. This is just so it's heartbreaking. My heart goes out to the family. My heart goes out to the friends and like
Yeah,
I just really hope that they find peace and
100%.
peace in this.
So our hearts go out to Haley's family, and we both hope to see the changes that bring justice for Haley's life with Haley's Law and the Pink Alert. So thank you guys so much for listening. Comment any cases you'd like to see us cover, and we'll see you next time.
See you
Bye.
next time. Bye.